Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
It's Some Dumb Guy here. Welcome to my, I guess, inaugural episode of SumDumRVLiving. I don't know, we'll figure something out on that title. I recently bought a new RV and living in this fifth wheel. I used to live in one that was older and it was, well, it exceeded its lifespan. I upgraded, got something new. And over the course of living in that one for shy of 20 years, and all the work, the modifications, the renovations, remodeling, improvements, all the stuff I did to it over the course of those 20 years, I found myself in a position where I wanted to do the same for my new one. So 20 years, do it in a matter of like a couple weeks. That ain't happening. But I had this massive collection of projects, and I thought, you know what? Why not just take some of my viewers along on the journey here? Because obviously my regular content is very much on the decline as far as time to maintain it and to provide for it. Although cabinets there completely packed full of movies and TV and who the heck else knows what else that need to be unboxed and presented and so forth and so on. But since I don't have the time really to watch any of it, nor do I have an appropriate setup in which to do so, it doesn't really do a whole lot of good. Because the majority of my free time, like 99% of it off work, is spent getting my new home situated and again, modifications, renovations, remodeling, furniture building, you name it. I thought I'd invite all of you along and see if such things interest you. Here we are with episode number 1 of that. How long will it go? I don't know. We'll see. What I have. I bought 2 of these multimedia shelving units. The first is going to go along a wall. Fits perfectly, except it's too short. So what I did, I bought 2. And my measurements and my math are correct. 1.5 of those units will fit height-wise in this one spot I want to put it. Looks leaves half a unit left. So what am I going to do with that? I'm going to build that half a unit, I think, now tonight. And I'm going to put it along this one wall next to my desk, which I think it'll fit nice and snug. Now, I had to take a leap of faith here. I'm buying 2 of these and hoping that the construction of all these parts are uniform enough. And now, follow me here, I hope this makes enough sense. I'm going to take these 2 units and I'm going to Frankenstein the 2 of them together. Each of these 2 units that I bought are assembled basically in 2 halves. They all have adjustable shelvings, but they have a midpoint where there's a fixed shelf that spans the entire width of this thing. So my plan is to take the first unit and install it as it is intact, minus the top. The top is not going to go on. Instead, I'm going to take the middle panel, the dividing unit of the second one, and I'm going to put that on top of the first and make it into a dividing unit top. And in which case I am going to put the top half of the second unit on top of that, making it 1.5 units. With me so far? Okay. That should, in theory, leave me enough parts left over, assuming that the construction of these things is that uniform, where I will still have a bottom and I will still have a top, and I have enough verticals and adjustable shelvings for a second half as its own complete unit, I hope. And I will put that along the wall next to my desk and make use of the entire shebang without having to cut anything up, without having to make any real serious modifications to it, and be able to purpose the entire thing. So that will be project number 1. We're going to start on that tonight. I've got these shelving units here. They're fine. I don't really have a place for them. And I've got this, oh my God, this is so hard to do. That one. So I got 3. Oh dear God, I'm doing all this backwards. Oh my God, that is so awkward. Trying to watch and what I'm doing here. Okay, so the 2 tall ones ain't going to go anywhere. There's no space for them. In fact, neither is in all 3 of them. I have another plan for the majority of my movies, but I need to scale this one down. I don't want to necessarily have all my windows blocked off, and those are, although I have them spliced together as individual units, so they'll be a little more stable. They're still a little bit on the wobbly side. They do better security against the wall. I don't have any wall space to put them, and I don't want to be blocking off the window necessarily. The other half will go on the floor. It's going to be approximately 30 inches high, so it's going to come right up to the base of that window on the bottom side. That'll all get transferred over, or at least a good portion of it. I think the shorter of the 3 units will at least temporarily have to maintain as is, but again, assuming my estimations are correct, all the movies and everything and those 2 taller units will get transferred over into that other piece. Fingers crossed. We'll see. So anyway, I am going to be doing unboxing of the sugar went away. Got 2 of those. 1, 2. We're gonna unbox that sucker. we're gonna start some assembly and see what happens. So join me soon. Okay, well, we've got a manual, we've got a box of hardware, pulled out all the relevant parts for the bottom half and the top cap for the top half. So we have parts, everything's accounted for. I'm just opening the hardware box. Some assembly required. Buddy supervising. So anyway, as I was trying to say, moment of truth here, getting all the parts laid out and hardware installed, he learned that things are not as uniformly manufactured as you would like. Whereas this is the top piece to go onto the second top half, and these are the side pieces to go on the bottom half. They don't, how should we say, made up, which is kind of strange to me in a sense, why they would be different. The hardware is all the same, and the way that's put together is all the same, except, I'm trying to do this one-handed, well, I guess it helps by facing the right direction. There we go. Alright, so we line up dowel, and we line up, oh, I'm blanking on the name of that screw. So that's when everything is put together the way you'd think it would be. Look what we end up with. I've checked 2 of the 4 verticals so far. The outer side and one of the middle dividers, same problem. So, why is that? I don't know. Because why would the top piece be set further back than the middle divider piece? You'd think these things would all be stacked in the same plane. The holes for the hardware and the dowels would be located thusly. That's not the case. So, I either scrap this plan, which is not the SumDum way, for better or worse, or I remove the hardware from this top piece. 3, oops, 2, and 3, so we have 10. I'd have to remove those, buy some more dowel or dowel pins, glue them in there, shave them off flush, assuming matching up hole size with dowels. Yeah, shave them off flush, and then do some dowel centers for these holes, line up where the holes should be, and then re-drill and reinstall this hardware and dowel pins where they would need to be to correspond to these guys. That will be a bit of work. Fortunately, it is only 10 holes on one panel for this one. Obviously, that same issue is going to rear its ugly head when it comes to doing the double-decker, the 1.5 level, because I'm running the same problem on the midpoint there. Yeah, it looks like I'll run into the same problem on the one panel. Should be the mid-level panel, I think. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, we're a little stuck. It's after 8 o'clock at night. It's been wet and rainy, so I can't really do much in the way outside. I can't do any of this work outside. I'm going to have to measure some holes and pick up some dowels tomorrow anyway, so I guess we're going to put this on hold. Come home tomorrow with some hardware, and then the next day or 2 revisit this. Kind of stinks, but such things are to be expected when you live in a world where you adjust it to conform to your will. So, yeah. Very little progress was made, I guess, in the great scheme of things. Other than knowledge, the only progress was made was Congress, right? Because Congress is the opposite of progress. So now I just have a bunch of loose pieces going to be floating around versus having them previously in the box. Sometimes it's best not to start these projects at night, because if you need supplies, you can't really do a whole lot until the next day to get them. And yeah, anyway, thanks for indulging. We're going to continue this on another part once I have everything I need. And it's kind of funny going through these instructions, like, okay, no, I can't follow this step. I can only follow part of this step because I'm mixing and matching the parts. So yeah, such is life. Okay, so I had an idea before I start just butchering and mutilating and drilling. And there goes Buddy. Although I can do it, it shouldn't be a big problem to do it. It'll still be a little bit of work. So I decided, I'm going to tackle this from a different direction and see how well that works. Instead of taking the bottom half, I'm going to take the top half. Because it occurs to me in measuring the height for the tall 1.5 units together, is going to be pretty much 8 feet floor to ceiling. I can't use that full 8 feet. The ceiling slopes. I wouldn't be able to get anything on the top, and because of the slope, if I have, depending on the height and everything else, long story short, first unit I think is 60 inches and some change, so 2 of them would be 120. But I compared the bottom and the top half, and they are not split equally in height. One would be, I believe, if memory serves, about 33 inches once the tops and bottoms have been all put together, and the other one would be about 28 and a half, 29. So the top half of the unit is actually shorter than the bottom half. And I'd rather have the extra height on the double up version of it. So you're looking at 60 and 32, you're looking at, let's just say, 93 inches in that ballpark is probably a much better number for me to work with up there, as long as that slope on that ceiling isn't too tight. And then measuring floor to the bottom of the window where I want to install the additional portion was in the neighborhood of 30-31. So I'm going to try doing the top half instead. So this is where I'm at now. So there's the cap. I've locked in the supports, the 2 middle pieces. The base, although it would never traditionally go here, would go on the bottom of the bottom half. I want to see if I put the base here. So I pulled it out, and I've got it here. Screws come up from the floor side, stick up, and go into so and so. I need to see exactly where the holes do or do not line up, because this has got pre-drilled holes in it. If they line up, great. I can just run those screws in. I'm good to go, and then I can secure the back, put shelving in, and it's done. If it don't work, I'm going to have to re-drill the holes in this guy, which, hey, no problem. It's just some particle board, right? So pulled out my drill bits. I'm going to line everything up on its side, poke some screws through there, and see where they line up, where they hit, and we'll go accordingly. All right, let's see how well you can see this. So both bottom edges, or back edges in this case, are lying on the floor together. We have screw, and we have hole. We have screw, and we have hole. So we have no alignment here. What I'm going to do is put the screws in, because they just pass through these pre-drilled holes loosely, no problem. I'm going to get them in there, and then line the bottom up to each of these guys, which the middle ones are going to be a little more difficult, right, because they floppy. So that'll be a little fun. But if I can poke the screws through and then make a noticeable hole in those bottoms that I can distinguish from the nooks and crannies in the particle board, then I can just pre-drill there to match those existing holes. I get a drill bit in there and see the diameter holes that are pre-drilled, so I don't split this stuff. But the outside edges should be relatively simple. And then I'm going to have to play a little bit more finesse to get the screws in, look in from the downside, adjust these left to right to where they're properly aligned, and then see if I can do the same. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to figure out a way to mark these boards. These holes are far too small to get a pencil through, unfortunately. So, to figure something out there, we'll see. I think I got a method here. Pull the screws. I abandoned the pokey idea. As much fun as that sounded. What I did, pulled the screws after determining what drill bit size I needed. Got everything lined up. Took a shelf, each of the 3 compartments, got them in there. Spaced it, because you get always a little bit of overhang on these things. It's kind of unavoidable, right? So once I got left and right lined up, squeezed everything in so the shelves were all tight, just went ahead and ran my drill bit in each of those holes. 1 hole, 1 screw, 1 hole, 1 screw. I am now going to do this end. Once that's secure, we'll make sure we got enough equal distance here for each of these shelves to plug in. And I think we'll be in business. Nice and rigid. Looking good. Okay, so we have success on that front. Everything is locked in, good to go. I've now flipped it around, so back is up. And we get to lay out the back panel and have fun with a whole collection of tiny nails. Yay! I'm gonna get those tacked in place, and then it's just a matter of shelf installation and adjustment for Blu-ray cases. Hey, we have a completed assembly. That's for the wall mount attachment for security to the wall. We are ready to install shelving, get this thing placed and loaded up with goodies. Okay, so for better or worse, this is what we end up with. Floating mouse. Well, I don't know if I made the right decision or not as far as utilizing the top portion of the unit versus the bottom, because as you can see, and I'm going to have to go reposition, I started on the top and worked my way down. Should not have done that, should have gone the other way, but either way, there's not enough room for 4 individual vertical slots here, or levels. So got those 2 down, and it's like, oh, I ran out of holes. So putting these guys, you know, at the bottom, I ended up having to put the shelf there, and I ended up with that nonsense, which I'm not too thrilled about at all. Of course, naturally didn't hold as many as I wanted because of that. So I ended up with a stack on top of it, unfortunately, and noises are happening. What was that, Sugar? What are you doing? Huh? You dropping stuff? So, yeah, not so thrilled. I thought, hey, this is going to contain everything from the taller 2 vertical ones I had, and then I'd have this guy left over temporarily to contend with and hold my extras. Did I make progress? I don't know. It's one step in the whole greater scheme of things that I can only hope will play out. We shall see, because boxes full of movies, 2 totes full of movies. I shouldn't have done that. Multiple walnut volley U-shaped floating shelves full of TV shows. I'm going to get that whole wall there filled with unit, as well as this corner here and possibly down. We're gonna see about that. Maybe it might be too close to the door. But here's Buddy and Sugar. So this theater seating, as nice as it is, it's probably gonna go, because I want to put a coffee table here and would not be able to recline. I'm gonna put a console table behind and I would not be able to recline. Plus, with the additional shelving unit, I want to put basically like how this one is against the wall, coming out and creating a horseshoe shape here with my desk, my filming area. I need to be closer to the wall, so I need something slightly less width. I think I need about 11 inches from this corner to that side, and I don't have it. I think I've got about 8 right now. And there's not quite enough room to push this thing over against the wall to make up for it, almost, but not quite. And again, because of the whole reclining situation and the console table, I'm opting to part with this and get a couch, just a standard issue. I can take some measurements to make a purchase. So, yeah, anyway, final update on that for the time being. I'll rearrange later, but everything is stationary and set up. So, Sugar's going to explore and check things out. Get approval or not, we'll find out. Thank you for joining me in this little adventure. Stay tuned for the next part. Bye. Sugar. Buddy.
Alan.